Jimmy to his right. Turns back, ducks in, now fires and scores.
Jimmy, even though it was a night where you're carrying the lion's share of the offensive load, you still had moments when the defense was forefront, and then also other guys contributing on the offensive end, particularly Terry down the stretch.
Terry put on a show, man. When half the arena is there to see you, like you got to come out and do your thing. But I'm just proud of our guys. We're coming out and fighting a couple of men down and compete and get one on the road, which we definitely needed. It was a good dub overall, it really was.
How did the foot feel when you got back at it? It looked like it was fine.
Yeah. I'm okay. You know, now it's time to rest, ice it, and do all of that good stuff, and be ready to go come, Friday, I think? Friday. We'll be good. Hopefully we get some bodies back, too.
Oh, nice. I'm sorry, go ahead.
How happy were you to see Terry have those moments, considering how much you guys have been on him, to take more shots and be more aggressive?
I love it. I love it when my guys are seeing the ball going to the basket, when they're scoring, when they're smiling, when they're celebrating. Like, basketball is definitely supposed to be fun. And whenever you're playing that type of basketball and it's towards winning, that makes it even more fun. So I'm happy for him. I want him to continue doing that. And, doing it somewhat at the crib in front of his people is big. There's a lot of cheer for him, as there should be. So I'm happy for my guy.
What was it like seeing a guy like Patty step into the starting lineup and help you guys get off to a pretty good start?
Yeah, I mean, he's won at the highest level. He's been a winner for a long time here now, and I'm glad that we get to bring his championship experience, everything that he's learned. And, he's teaching everybody a lot still of how we can be better on both sides of the ball. He's constantly communicating. But he belongs here, man. He does. Plays basketball the right way. All he cares about is winning. So I think he'll be around for a little bit, and he's definitely going to help us in the stretch.
Jimmy, you have a 4-game homestand coming up. It starts against the Pelicans. Remember the last time you were in New Orleans? I remember Jimmy Butler saying, "We'll beat them the next time too." Ready to stand by those words, or was that in the heat of the moment?
Of course, no. I don't go into any game saying we're going to lose, but we're going to get a dub. It's on our home floor anyways.
I'll just start with 2 words. Terry Rozier, I'll let you take over.
Yeah, I mean, he was the guy that's tormented us, a little bit over the years tonight. And it's, it's a process when things happen at, mid-season, you change teams and move to a different city and you try to acclimate, as quickly as you possibly can. He didn't want to step on anybody's toes, but this is why we wanted him here. Is he's a great clutch performer, and he's been that way his entire career. And we needed another guy that can make plays and create something out of nothing, and that's what he basically did those last 2 possessions. He ended up scoring 9 points in, a minute. But the step-back 3 when he got fouled, we were kind of jammed up on that play. And then the step-back going to his right, similarly as end of the clock, those plays are usually reserved for Jimmy. But it was very encouraging for all of us just to have another guy that could make a big play in a pressure moment. And the guys were just really happy for him, and we needed every bit of it. Now, as great as Terry was, down the stretch.
What's up, folks? Jimmy Butler probably has the game against the New Orleans Pelicans tomorrow circled on his calendar, considering what happened when he and the Miami Heat last went up against them. That is because the last time they met on February 24th, Butler was among the 5 players ejected, along with Nikola Jovic, Thomas Bryant, Najee Marshall, and Jose Alvarado. The scuffle started with just over 11 minutes in the 4th period when Kevin Love fouled Zion Williamson under the basket, which Najee Marshall took exception to. Butler and Marshall went at each other, and things escalated further when staffers and teammates from both teams came over to restrain them. While that was happening, Thomas Bryant and Jose Alvarado fought at the scorer's table and were ejected by security. The Miami Heat beat the New Orleans Pelicans 106-95 at the Smoothie King Center, and Jimmy Butler threw barbs on New Orleans in the post-game interview. "We'll beat them the next time, too. We're just a better team," said Butler. "Our team is so ready for anything that anybody's thrown at us. We're so together, playing some incredible basketball. I don't think it matters who we go up against right now. It's that time of the year. Since February 24th, the Miami Heat have gone 7-6, while the New Orleans Pelicans have gone 8-3. The former is 7th in the Eastern Conference, while the latter is currently the 5th seed in the Western Conference. Before tomorrow's match, the Miami Heat won 107-104 against the Cleveland Cavaliers, while the New Orleans Pelicans lost to the Orlando Magic 121-106, with Brandon Ingram exiting the contest with a bad knee injury. After the win against the Cleveland Cavaliers, Jimmy Butler couldn't help but laugh when he was asked to recall any memories of his ejection against the New Orleans Pelicans in February. There is a freaking memory. I got fined a lot of money, that's my memory. I don't give a expletive about tensions flaring and all that, Butler said. I got kids, diapers, baby food. You know what I'm talking about, like, that's crazy? I'm trying to get my bread back. The New Orleans Pelicans better beware of Jimmy Butler on Friday because he has been solid since the NBA All-Star break, averaging 22.3 points, 5.4 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and 1.8 steals per game. All of a sudden, Bam Adebayo has a three-point shot. The Miami Heat center made just 9 three-pointers in his first 472 NBA games. But, over the past 4 games, Adebayo is 5-for-5 from deep, sinking at least 1 three-pointer in each contest. On Friday night, Adebayo will try to keep that streak going as Miami, 38-31, hosts the New Orleans Pelicans, 42-27. Miami ranks 27th out of the 30 NBA teams in scoring, 109.7 points per game, and the Heat have put up 100, or fewer points 16 times, the 4th most in the league. The Heat are 2-14 in those contests. In other words, the Heat have welcomed the added component for Adebayo, who missed Miami's most recent game, a 107-104 win over the Cleveland Cavaliers on Wednesday due to a lower back contusion. The Heat officially list Adebayo as questionable, but it sounds as if he will return on Friday. Coach, Erik Spoelstra, told me it was time for me to take a game off, said Adebayo, who was averaging 19.9 points and a team-high 10.6 rebounds. It was more maintenance than anything else. The Heat also are hoping to get three-point shooter Duncan Robinson back. He also missed the Cleveland game due to a back ailment. Miami remains without Josh Richardson, shoulder, Tylerherro, foot, and Kevin Love, heel. Jimmy Butler still is the spiritual leader of the Heat, and he also tops Miami in scoring, 21.6, assists, 4.8, and steals, 1.4. With Miami's missing Herro's 20.8 scoring average, recently acquired Terry Rozier has taken a bigger role. Rozier averaged 23.2 points in 30 games this season with Charlotte. In 22 games with Miami, he is putting up just 15.7 points per game, though he topped 20 in each of the past 2 contests. Rozier made the go-ahead three-pointer with 14.5 seconds left in Miami's win at Cleveland. This is why we went after Terry, Spoelstra said. We wanted another guy who can make something happen late in games. Meanwhile, the Pelicans are coming off a double loss on Thursday. The team's second leading scorer, forward Brandon Ingram, exited due to a left knee injury during the Pelicans' 121-106 loss to the host Orlando Magic.